Since you're from the U.S., we'll talk briefly about HIV stigma in general, like the general concept of it. But I kind of want to get your take on some more situational topics like dating, when to disclose, things like that. But first, I want you to just tell me how HIV stigma has impacted your life.
So as an HIV-negative young gay man of color who's very much a part of the HIV community, writing for thebody.com and a member of various activist groups, I find that people come up to me and ask me if I'm positive or assume that I'm positive, and I don't really say anything to correct them all the time. If someone asks me, I tell them my status, but I don't say my status right away as if I don't want people to know that I'm positive, because I don't find anything wrong with being positive. But I have had people, because of just who I associate with, believe that I'm positive and then act a certain way towards me. So I have noticed that. And then also my father, who passed away from an AIDS-related illness, was positive. He passed away from AIDS. And so talking about that story, I've seen a lot of stigma within my community and my families and stuff like that, about people maybe wanting to tell the story or not wanting to tell the story. So in my own life and then in dealing kind of with my family's story, I've seen a lot of HIV stigma.
Have you, since you're out about being on PrEP, have you encountered any stigma from that?
Yes, I've encountered a lot of stigma around being on PrEP. I mean, I've had people attack me on dating sites, and people have slut-shamed me and have tried to grill me about all the science. And, there are some people, I believe, who are on PrEP who maybe don't know all the science, but being a reporter who talks about HIV, it's my job to know all the science, so I don't think that they're always prepared to encounter someone who's so knowledgeable, and I can push back against a lot of that. So I've been called, every negative, sexy term in the book. And, and then also people who I've been intimate with in the past have contacted me and been like, I didn't know, why are you on PrEP? And I'll say, well, because I want to stay HIV negative and my sex life includes people who are HIV positive. And they would say, well, I didn't know that you slept with positive people. You didn't tell me that before we slept together. I didn't know that you would be intimate with someone who's positive. And so then it becomes, I didn't even...
Now it's your responsibility to tell if you even would sleep with a positive
person.
Right,
so now I have to tell other negative people, I slept with positive people. It's ridiculous.
Right. Tell me your response to this question, or to this statement. Why don't people just wear condoms?
I would say that's really judgy, and I would say that condomless sex doesn't have to mean unprotected sex, especially with PrEP, and other strategies, like some people use serosorting or seropositioning, and condomless sex is literally the most natural sex in the world. It's the way sex started. And it's funny, I was at a session yesterday here at the International AIDS Conference, and someone said, condomless sex is the most natural sex in the world, yet we spend millions of dollars in research a year trying to find out why people are having it. We don't accept in almost any other form of our life that only one option. I mean, gosh, you can have an iPhone, an Android, Samsung, everything else, but it's just like the condom is supposed to be the only option. It's just really crazy.
I want you to respond to this common statement that I hear around PrEP as well. If someone can't wear a condom consistently, then how can we expect them to take a pill consistently?
Okay, that is almost like a false equation. I think taking PrEP involves it is a behavioral intervention because you have to actively take a pill every day, but you get to schedule when you get to take it.
The reasons for getting a pill and the reasons for getting a condom are two completely different reasons. You don't intentionally forget a pill.
Right.
You're intentionally forgoing a condom for a specific reason, that's pleasure.
Yeah, and pleasure is something that's overlooked when we talk about HIV, because I think everyone has the right to feel sexual pleasure in any way that they want as long as it's consensual. And I think that people who don't use condoms because they want to feel pleasure, that's absolutely fine. And also I think for some people it interrupts the flow. And then I also think that there is a subset of the population for which condom negotiation is not something that's feasible. I mean, there are some gay relationships and some straight relationships where there are power dynamics, and it's who makes the money and who has the name on the lease that says who's going to wear the condom, and the pill being PrEP, not birth control. The PrEP, is a way for a certain person, some people, to take the concept of prevention and make it their own. Another session I was in yesterday, someone said, I feel as a woman, the person was saying they feel as a woman, that they're left out of condom messaging because women can't use condoms. They can only negotiate for someone else to use condoms. So
and PrEP is a way to take the power back.
Yeah, and PrEP can be a way for them to take the power back.
I want you to finish this sentence. HIV stigma is?
Growing.
HIV stigma is growing. Interesting. Why do you think it's growing?
I think HIV stigma is growing for a lot of reasons. I think it has to do with the way the gay community is, the gay communities are kind of siloed right now. And, I wrote a Huffington Post piece about the way certain dating apps like Grindr and stuff like that facilitate discrimination, because it's a form of cyberbullying. If you're saying like HIV positive people are not allowed to sleep with me, and you say that on your profile, and other people have to read it, you never have to see the hurt on someone's face. You never have to deal with the person who you're saying that to and see their shame and stuff like that. So you kind of just get to be aggressive and, put someone down without having to deal with any of the emotional consequences.
I want you to finish this sentence. Mathew Rodriguez is?
Mathew Rodriguez is a fighter. I believe that all these problems like stigma and the problems surrounding the intervention of PrEP and things like that require a fight. And I think that everyone needs to know their place in the fight and use their skills. So I believe that my skills are writing and editing and helping people tell their stories. And so that's how I am part of the fight. And I believe that these issues will only come to justice. HIV stigma will only be eliminated through fighting and for what you believe in.
Cool. And then I want you to just describe HIV stigma in one word.
Okay. HIV stigma is damaging. I think HIV stigma is damaging to both HIV positive people and HIV negative people. It's obviously damaging to HIV positive people because it assumes a lot about that person without knowing anything about them, but also stigma stops HIV negative people from wholly loving other people. So I think HIV stigma is kind of this wound, or this like societal wound that like doesn't allow people on either side of the viral divide to kind of come to a consensus that we're all human and all worthy of love.
Great.
Everybody has an HIV status. We are all HIV equal.